So hopefully, when anybody gets on there, boom, boom, boom. Let me see my peeps and back. We back. We live. All right. Thank you for joining us again. I wish I had the like the Breonna Taylor shirt or the I Matter shirt. I was like, dang, can't wait till the last minute. I had like 30 interviews, bro. I always start watering on interview. Okay. Hey y'all. Chaz, if you could request to be in my live. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how
Hey,
are
how's your
you?
Friday going? Is it Friday, Saturday?
Yes.
It's Saturday. Are you still quarantining like everybody else is trying to, I guess?
Girl, in this profession, there is no such thing as quarantine. I have been at work like normal.
Not like normal. So you know the days of the week and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
yeah, it ain't no days off, literally.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice, awesome. So the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you is because, like I told people, I grew up with you. So when I think of police officers, I came from a different background than I guess other people have experienced. We
Hmm.
were raised in like mixed schools. Like we saw white kids, we saw black kids, we saw Mexican kids.
Yep.
They dated. There was not really any issue like that. I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't completely not there, but we came up with good morals. We played with different kids. And even my first mentor who helped me kind of guide my way through my anger was a black police officer who was a woman. So that was an experience that I have. So I was researching something called intersectionality.
Hmm. Tell us
And
what that means,
basically,
Maxie.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Intersectionality is basically how you're grouped into certain classes. So it kind of helps get you on a equal foundation. Like someone could say we are divided by race, class, gender, but it could also be things like sexuality, religion, and even your occupation. So intersectionality are those things that cross and connect us.
Gotcha.
And when I thought about that for you, I was like, wow, not only is she a black woman living in America, she's a black police officer.
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to talk to you because I don't, when I think of police officers, think necessarily of hate or the things that they try to promote on social media and the news. I saw a very united front and I saw lots of, black officers. So how
Hmm.
did you get started wanting to become an officer?
It's one of those things. It was late in high school. I can say that it was, some people, dream of being, a superstar, basketball player, all that since they were kids. Me growing up as a kid, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a model. I'm gonna be a hairstylist. It was just real, just kind of things you would expect somebody to say. So it didn't
Yeah.
have no depth to it, and so. I want to say maybe my junior year, like it was late in high school when I decided. I said, you know what? I said I could do something like that. And I'm like you, I've had nothing but great experiences with police officers before I was one. So I was like, I don't have no animosity towards them, but I also know our people as a whole have animosity towards law
Yeah.
enforcement. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, and I know me as a person. One I'm nosy. I can admit that. And I said, you know what? This is the job for me because I can be in everybody's business and get paid to do it. Because that's essentially what it is. You're in
Right.
everybody's business. They're calling for you on help, and you can't help them until you know their business. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm nosy. I was like, I like to help people. So I was like, first and foremost, I want to help them. They called for a reason. Get to that. And so
Chess,
going.
your
Oh,
phone, can you connect it to Wi-Fi? Your phone is kind of going in and out. All right, it's hopping on the Wi-Fi, y'all.
okay, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, perfect.
All right. So straight out. So when I started college, I was initially a biology major because I also liked science. So, but I still wanted to have that law enforcement aspect. So I was like, you know what? Let me stick with biology and I'll just go and do forensics because obviously, you have these crime scenes, you're gonna need somebody to do it. So I was like, let me do that. And so once I started doing the research and stuff like that, I'm like, unless I was trying to actually be a forensic scientist, you didn't need to have that degree. If you just wanted to be in the crime scene unit, you could, because crime scene unit is
Wow.
just it's just civilian people. They're not. I mean, obviously they're trained, but they don't necessarily have the educational background, so you didn't need a degree for that. So I was like,
Wow.
and just honestly, because I'm an open book. That mess was hard. I started getting like my second year of those classes, and I was like, okay, this biology stuff a little difficult. So
Wow.
I was like, if I'm gonna change my major, I need to be doing it now. And it was a no brainer
Right.
what I would change it to. It was going to be criminal justice. So I was like, let me just do it. So I kind of just had a gut feeling, went and changed my major, started taking the classes for that. And I mean, I was in love for that. I mean, all my classes, A's, A's, A's. Like I actually like going to class. It was great. So I get finished with college and then I started second guessing myself. I get in my head more than anybody else. Like it's just me. You can tell. You can call me anything out the book. I'm not gonna let you get under my skin. The only person that can get under my skin is me. I am so hard on myself. So I got out of college and I started second my guessing myself. I was like, "Oh, I don't think this gonna work. No, I don't think you wanna, because I was like, should I go through academy and go ahead and be on patrol or what?" I was just a lot of what ifs. So I was like, let me just take a year off from school to think. So I spent 1 year just substitute teaching at Miss
Hmm.
Nelson School in at Tyson Elementary. So I was subbing for her,
Yes.
and I ended up getting a long term position for a lady who was on maternity leave. So I was pretty much their teacher at this point because she wasn't going to be coming back.
Hmm.
And I discovered that this ain't gonna work. I was like, one, this is just too temporary, and two, teachers have a special job, and I am not that special person. So,
You have a special job.
yeah, so I was like, yeah, once this school year is over, this is gonna be it. And I don't know if you know, but her husband is a police officer, so
Hmm.
she'd been in my corner. She's like, girl, just call him, just let him hear you out. He will help you. He'll help you. And I said, okay. So I finally told her, I said, it's been great. It's the end of the school year. Thankful for the opportunity, but I'm gonna go ahead and pursue what I've been going through anyway. So I talked to myself, and honestly, this is the honest moment. Again, I'm gonna open the book. The only thing that was really holding me back on why I didn't want to go through academy was, girl, I did not want to get tased. I was like, you know what, y'all ain't gonna do that to me.
Oh my goodness. So one question that people had was, do women go through the same exact training that the men police officers do?
Girl, yes. Boy, yes. Whoever asked,
Mm.
yes. There is no, let me separate the class by women, let me put the men on this side. It's I mean, obviously you have, because you're there 8 hours a day. It's academy is literally like college. You're there 8 hours a day. Some departments are longer than that, depending, but where I went, it was 8 hours a day. And you have girls and you have boys. And then so you'll have your girls' restrooms, girls' locker rooms, girls' showers that'll be on one side of the building. Then you'll have the men on the other side for obvious reasons. But other than that, as far as the training, the classes that you have to take, the testing, it's all the same. It doesn't matter if you're female or male. So everybody got tased, everybody got OC sprayed, everybody. So there was
Oh,
no, I get to sit out on this type thing and watch. No.
wow. Wow. And
Yeah.
when you were going through those things, what kept you saying like, but this is something I still want to do? Because like you said, I mean, academy, you had to kind of give it a year. You were really scared to kind of walk in your purpose. But what pushed you to just say, regardless of getting tased, regardless of, I have to get through the academy and I have to be a police officer?
I just love, and it's not a personal thing, but I was just like, you know what? I have to it's bigger than me. I was like, there are people that need to see this, because they're, like you said, we didn't, I'm not gonna say we grew up privileged, but we grew up in the right
Yeah,
households. So we didn't see all
exactly.
this stuff, where everybody's like, oh, fuck the police and all that. Because like I said, it's,
Exactly.
our people, before all this craziness started happening, we never did like cops, right? So I was like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
bigger than me. I was like, it's about representation. I think that's
Yeah.
something that gets a lot of us. We do a lot of complaining, but we not putting in no applications to be a governor. We not taking no classes we not running for president for nothing. We not doing nothing. All we doing is running our mouth. So that was one thing. I said, let me get out here and let's just do it. I said, yes, I may fail, but I'll be able to sleep at night knowing I at least tried to do something that I really wanted to do and have gone to school for at this point. So I said, because
Yeah.
anything that these men can do, I can do it. Like I said, I just had to get out of my head. Everything was all up here.
Yeah.
Chaz, oh, you need a little more time. Think about it. And this time is just passing by, passing by, passing by,
Yeah.
passing by. And, it's people that just need to see it. Because I've had so many people now, girl, reach out to me. How do you, be a police officer? They probably would never
Uh-huh.
ask that until I got in my position.
So you
So
have to do it.
it's
Exactly.
it was just people needing to see more black officers, more black female officers. And then
Yeah.
also I want to touch on this, and it's not a big deal because again, I don't care, anybody can be a cop, but a black officer that's pretty decent, because you see
Mm-hmm.
most, because it's the male dominant field, right? And so you're like,
Yeah.
oh well, she must work out a lot, she must lift weights and don't do nothing but drink protein shakes. And it's just like,
Yeah.
no, I still have a regular life. I like wearing lashes. I like to have my brows on. I go get my nails and feet
Yeah.
done. Like, I'm still a regular
I'm still,
person.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just you can turn it on and off when it's necessary. So that was another thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, some people, I'm serious. I've had some girls like, well, can y'all wear makeup or can y'all wear wigs and can y'all, and it's just like, yes, you'll have some stipulations, but you have to bend and flex a little bit. Because me, before all this, I would go get me a full set in a minute with designs and all that. And then I got in the job and I was like, oh no, I can't do that no more. I was like,
Can't do that.
I gotta wear my real nails, and I don't need to have all these designs. I need to have just one color, and they gonna have to be pretty short so that I can reach all my equipment on my belt. So you gonna have to compromise a little bit. But
So you would tell somebody that maybe flexibility is something that you need to have essentially regardless what you're in or what capacity you work in.
absolutely, because even then, being a rookie straight out of the academy, your shifts are gonna change. You're gonna get put on whatever shift they need an officer. One week I was
Mhm.
working morning shift, next week I was working midnight shift, and it's just like, well, dang, how do you, go from working 6 a.m. in the morning and now you going into work at 9 o'clock at night? So
Right.
you have to be able to bend and flex, and if you're not really comfortable with that, then it's gonna be a little difficult, because especially with the scheduling, because you're not gonna get to, pick your schedule right out the gate anyway. You're gonna get the worst schedule available.
Yeah. And one thing that for the people who have just joined us, we talked about is when you said we grew up not necessarily privileged, but in good homes, we did have that foundational backing.
Hmm.
So, like I said, we were kind of raised where we saw African American cops, and someone has a question. And I remember, like I said, my mentor was a female cop.
Hmm.
And I used to have really bad anger issues. And I remember she was just going on and on about, like, your anger is going to get you in trouble. It's going to get you arrested. I've seen this road before. And
Hmm.
she just really poured into me. And I remember one day I had fought some chick, and the principal was like, nope, she has to go to um, a mesquite jail. So we have a smaller jail, and then we have like for real jail.
Hmm.
Like in our neighborhoods, they'll send you to like the play quit playing jail
Uh-huh.
before you have to go to the big jail, right? So
Right.
I remember, and they handcuffed you at all.
Yeah.
And I was so just hurt and embarrassed because this was the last fight. And she was like, it's towards the end of the year. I cannot save you anymore. And her putting those handcuffs on me and walking out with me broke her heart. I could just see it in her eyes and stuff, that it was just like a tough experience.
Hmm.
And someone had a question, and it says, is it hard to advocate for young Black people because oftentimes they're the target?
Yes. Yep, it's very hard to advocate. One, and not only that, often because we're the target, but we don't want to hear what I have to say. It's been so many times. I mean, I get on a call, girl, and they're just like, oh, we don't want to work with you. They hired you just so that they could meet their quota. They knew they had to have Black people in the department. So, that's another thing to really consider is I have to battle with that all the time too. Cause, they're like, oh, well, yeah, you Black, but you ain't one of us. You one of them because you decided to be. And
Wow.
it's just like that. Okay. I don't need to argue with them. I have to understand everybody can't be helped, and there's some people that are just straight foolish. It just is what it
Yeah.
is. I've been on a call where they're just like, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you because you're not a sergeant or a lieutenant or whatever." And it's just like, okay, let me get one of them out here for you then. If you And it's just
And that's
crazy
where
because it's like you called
intersectionality
us,
comes in.
but right.
Wow, that's exactly where it comes in. There could be a complaint that, okay, well, I don't like the way people are getting policed. I feel like we should have more Black officers. Then we get a Black officer, and it's like, well, I wanted it to be a Black man. It didn't have to be a Black woman, and then it's
Yeah.
like, so
All
what's
these
gonna make you
different,
happy?
right? Well, I don't want to talk to you because you're not a supervisor. Oh, you just how and that they'll ask you how long you been. Oh no, you too young in the department. You're too young. No, we don't want to work with you. And and
Wow,
what's really disheartening and what's really crazy is, and I'm telling you, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I'm just gonna be 100. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. So
right,
you have to deal with our percentage of people that's just ignorant, that's just straight ignorant, and that'll sit up here and call you racist. And it's just like, bro, we the same color. But all right, if
right.
if that's if that's how you feel, then okay.
So have you seen that video where it was a female police officer and one of her other colleagues had attempted to, I guess, put his hands on the protester, and
Hmm.
she kind of snapped on him real quick. And that video kind of reminded me of you. And I was like, this conversation is going to be so spot on because we don't even maybe understand the privilege that we have someone like you who could advocate for us in those
Hmm. Hmm.
situations, you know? But there are also times when people have experienced that, police brutality, something has happened to someone or some protest or something, and they release the mugshots and it's Black officers.
Yep.
So for you being a officer, is there times where it's like, I'm fearful to maybe step in or say something? Or are you on the side where, no, I'm tenacious and I did this so I could hold people accountable, officers and civilians?
Oh no, I don't play that. That's just not even in my character. I don't. again, like you said, we got in the profession to help people. So there, you're not going to see me out here on Instagram smoking weed. You're not going to see me out here speeding, not putting on my signal, driving without a seatbelt. So I don't.
Yeah,
So if I see people just doing, my coworkers, it's like, we ain't, we ain't doing that. Like I have one particular coworker, and it's just like I always, if I see him coming as like my backup unit, I call him on his personal phone. I don't do it over the radio. I'm just like, hey, I got it handled because I know that he's just hot tempered and he gonna come and he just gonna get stuff amped up and I be done already de-escalated and got it where I needed it to be. And he just like, so I'll just call him, hey, you come on, be en route, but you don't have to do much. Like we good over here. You can still
exactly.
come
And
because
just
you were dispatched over here as my backup unit, but I got it under control, fam. We don't need no extra.
wow, wow. And it's just acknowledging that, someone said, what has been the hardest adjustment to being a police officer at this time? Because some people think like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. But there are other people who know it's getting filmed now, but it's been happening for quite some time.
Hmm.
So as you being someone who is an advocate for us, how does your heart feel when you see these situations and it's happening in your profession?
Girl, it's defeating. It is really defeating. Like when the George Floyd incident happened, I'm pretty mentally strong. Like I admitted at the beginning, I can get in my head pretty quick and I beat myself up over the littlest mistakes. I'm like, Chash, you knew better. Why you do that? But it was defeating, and that actually took a mental toll on me. But what made it all better was I didn't even. I mean, my white coworkers, they reached out and asked how I was feeling. Did I need to take a day off? Like it was so it that made it a lot better to know that okay, yeah, they at least want to help or at least care how I feel. They want to ask how I'm feeling and if I need to talk about it, and that's the first thing
Exactly.
is just having a conversation. So and it's just defeating, it's us. um so it's like, mm, Maxie, hold on one second. Oh girl, let me, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. But I was just saying how heartbreaking it is because it's our people that, we're always the victim, seems like, and it's just like, up up another hashtag, and up, do I even need to guess? Let me guess. It's a black person. Up, let me guess. The officer was white. It's just a never ending story, and it sucks having to put the uniform on because again, us just being us and being on the defensive. Oh, you one of them, and you ain't one of us. You still wake up. You gonna take they back over ours still, and it's not like that. And if I try to have those conversations with people, it's way deeper than that. We're not just. It's some departments that they do have a hidden agenda where they're just like, oh yeah, let me just hire a black female officer because I know I have to type stuff to fill the numbers,
Right.
but. It's bigger than that too, but I don't want to say that it's not happening and that it's not departments that do that because there are. But I try to just take it for what it is, and again, you can't help everybody. When stuff like that happens, anybody that's in law enforcement takes a hit, whether it's a probation officer, a parole officer, somebody that works in the jail that ain't even on the streets. Everybody that works in some type of law enforcement field that has some type of badge or has any type of way to take away rights or something like that, we all take a hit. So it's just like, okay, I just did all this good work, and now I'm back having to rebuild these relationships. Now I have to get back out here in these streets and fix it. I have to clean up somebody else's mess.
And one question that someone had, which was really interesting, was, so what does the Dallas Police Department do and this and that and the other? But it's like, do you know that when stuff like that happens, there are people who are in the system who is working to say, hey, let's check on this one black officer right here. That's not something that you train someone to do, to have
Mm-hmm.
empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me feel good to know that it's not just you,
Right.
but the officers that you're connected to have empathy towards Black lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it just really sucks. Like you said, you have to rebuild every time something happens. There's that, well, we're mad at the police and this and that and the other again. And it's like, man, I can't say that because my cousin is a police officer, or, my mentor is a police
Yeah.
officer. I can't necessarily express that, but I can't also find a way to express like, man, I want y'all to stop killing us though. Like, it's not a game, like
That's
Black
literally
people will,
something I go back and forth with. It's just like, how do I, and again, I'm being 100% honest. It is difficult to have these conversations because,
yeah,
again, people are so quick to just say, "Oh no, you work for the government. You're one of them. Yeah, you black or whatever." But and it's just ignorance all around. It's because we're not knowledgeable. It's because we're just so driven by anger, and I get it because I'm pissed
yeah,
too. Like I said, I'm living it. I'm seeing it every day, and then I still have to put on the uniform. I'd love to go and take a week off and act like I ain't have nothing to do with it or like I wasn't affected, but it doesn't work like that. So
yeah.
having just the conversations with people, but we have to open up our minds a little more. We can't
To
just,
embrace those
yes,
conversations.
we can't just be so mad that we just out here that we want to go and break the law and then get mad when you do go to jail. It's just like, well, honey, what did you expect? I'm like,
Exactly.
at the end of the day,
Exactly.
I'm gonna look out for you as much as I can because the key word in law enforcement is discretion. There's a lot of stuff you like, yeah, I should be taking your butt to jail today, but I'm gonna let you ride. That's discretion. Some stuff is in our
Mhm.
policy. We can't do that. So it's certain offenses where it's like, oh no, hey, you've been
Yeah,
cooperating with me, and I see that you just made a mistake, but I have to take you to jail. Though it's certain charges like that where we can't use our discretion. It's like, no, this is policy. This is my job on the line at this point. But other than that, the majority of the stuff is pretty much totally up to the officer. If they want to take you to jail, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. So unless it's one of those offenses where it's like, oh no, you have to go. You've been great. You've been cooperative. You've done everything I asked you to do. I understand you probably just got a little overheated, made a mistake, but got to do this one.
gotta go to jail.
Yeah.
Someone said something in the comments, Naturals Bay, about how she was, I guess, out during the looting,
Mm-hmm.
and she saw, I guess, police officers, I guess, taking merchandise along with the looters. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that goes back to the comment that you said, there have to be people there holding other people accountable because there are good people and bad people in every single profession.
Yep.
There are good and bad teachers, there are good and bad officers, there are good and bad parents. I think, it's hard to sometimes group something like experiences sometimes we think are so unique. Like there's no one in the world like me. I can't, just you don't even understand. Like we're really quick
Mm-hmm.
to say that and get defensive. But we really have no idea. When I was reading up on intersectionality, you are a speck of people who are united through experiences. You know, there are people who are good police officers, who are Black police officers. I love to see this experience of hearing out Black officers and seeing them because people can still aspire to be in law enforcement. And as the good starts to outweigh the bad and we get more good officers in, then I think that change can really be seen and you can start really looking for the accountability that you expect. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have, here's a new Black female police officer, this is amazing. Here's a third generation, you know, police officer from a Caucasian family who's a male who has a temper because his parents were in law school. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to start breaking the cycle of being so mad that we don't want to be bothered with it.
Mm-hmm.
But how can we go inside and infiltrate it with good things, good people, you know?
Yep, and just like you said, we I mean, I don't know about you, but I like seeing, our people. Like when I see, I'm finna go to the doctor, I'm like, oh, that doctor Black. Yeah, I'm gonna go to them. Or
Yeah.
if I see, or if I'm at the grocery store, I'm like, oh yeah, let me go to her line. She moving quick. I know my sister go look out. Like I just like seeing our people do the work, but we have to overcome, like, again, our anger and just our frustration, our fear. Like I told y'all earlier, I was not trying to go nowhere where I was gonna be tased. So we have to overcome our fear and just do it. Again, representation, representation, representation. We know the laws, they're not necessarily made for us. They don't really protect us. We always get the butt end of it, and then we always get the harshest, sentences. So if we know those things, why aren't we getting in the positions to change it? Why are we not going to law school?
Yeah.
Why are we not enrolling in the nearest academy? Why are we not trying to be governors? Why are we not running in our local elections for whatever it may be? Just
Yeah.
something where you can actually affect change. We all love to be on Twitter voicing our opinions all the time, but at what point are you gonna do something?
Let's do the work. Let's
Protesting
do the
is
work.
great. Protesting is great. I'm so glad. I saw a protest today. I thought it was actually kind of dying down. I was going to a funeral today and saw a protest, and I said, "Wow, it's still." I don't know what they were protesting, but I was just happy to see it. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, it's still going on, so we still got some momentum. But let's capitalize off that momentum. And I mean, it's out there. You just have to go and do it. Like, I just had one of my friends reach out to me, and she just got employed with Carrollton Police Department. So another black female
Wow.
officer getting ready to hit the street. So it's just like, if you want to do it,
Yes.
just get out there and do it. I mean, there's nothing to it. You got to get out of your own head. Don't let fear get in the way. Definitely read up on your stuff. Know your stuff. Stay knowledgeable. By all means, stay knowledgeable. And I'm not saying this for everybody, because it's not. Um, I had, I think I had four classmates that didn't even make it through academy, like dropping out during the academy. They're just like, oh no, this ain't for me. And trust me, I had several moments where I was just like, yep, this, I knew I shouldn't have did this. I knew,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I should have did this. But you just have to constantly talk yourself through. And I know some people aren't religious, but you have to look to whatever higher power you look to, and dig deep, because it's tough. But again, we have to at least just want to get out there and try. We got to do more
And
than.
one thing that you said was interesting is you're not saying like don't protest and this and that and the other. You were like, I love to see the momentum. I'm glad. I hope we capitalize on
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's like that's why we need to have these valuable conversations. You think that there are people out there, and my sister saying like, yeah, go do it. If I'm on shift, I sure will watch it, and make sure everything maintains that order that it needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I love just having this conversation because it's like back to the theme and the word of the night, intersectionality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want momentum. I want my people to continue to do and get in the streets and do what they need to do. And you're just talking about doing the work in whatever capacity. I think that's what's important, representation.
Yep.
You know, we can complain about our officers. Well, then let's put some black officers in place. Let's get some black doctors and black accountants,
Yep.
and just really be bold about what our purpose is and walk in it because
Right.
do it up, baby. We need that
And
representation.
be ready to, be ready to be burned. Because I mean, I know some people in the department probably like, up here she goes. She finna say something. She either finna hurt somebody's feelings, or she finna say something that I don't really agree with. But you just have to be prepared for it, all while still being professional. Now, if you already got plans to go work somewhere else, then you can go ahead and cuss and fuss if you want to. But you just have to
Yeah.
stand firm in, your word and what you believe in. And I'm not gonna lose no sleep because I held my tongue, or, oh, I should have intervened and I didn't. I have a conscience, and I am not gonna even fool with that. And I'm a huge believer in karma. So, mm-mm.
Wow. Someone said, what message would you give to Black people who are interacting with cops? And I think this is like the birds and the bees for Black people. Like, from your standpoint as a cop, we need to know because at this time it's so touchy. Like, I know I'm not
Mhm.
the only person, and it may be different because you're a police officer,
Mhm.
but every time a police officer is behind me, I'm shook.
Yeah.
Like, you good, get your driver's license, come on. Like, if my husband's driving, I'm extra nervous. You
Mhm.
know, what would what's the protocol? What do we do? Like, help us out.
It's I think a lot. a lot happens at home. We, again, everything's not all about upbringing, but I think a lot happens at home and what you're taught. And even before, obviously, when we were growing up, it was a little different in time. We wasn't just getting blatantly killed like now. But I mean, I was taught, I mean, you respect police, do what the heck they're telling you to do or whatever, and that was it. So even leading up to me being a police officer, I had never been stopped by police. And you know what's crazy? I got pulled over for the first time after being a cop. Girl, I was so outdone. I said,
Wow.
"What?" So, uh,
Wow.
so leading up to that, like you said, I've had nothing but good experiences with cops. So I never had that fear of, oh, I'm gonna get pulled over. And then on the other hand of that is I've always been doing what I'm supposed to do. So I'm not gonna give you no reason to pull me over. You're not going to pull me over because there's literally
And
nothing.
that's where we differ. I had growing up good experiences with cops, but once I got older, they were all just like, this is the worst experience that can happen. And that was something that I was wanting to talk to about as well. Like, for those who have great experiences, I think we can definitely advocate for them. But I'm also on the spectrum where I've honestly seen police brutality firsthand.
Mhm.
And I've seen the effects that it can have on your mental for
Mhm.
years and years to come, because I've gotten pulled over for simple speeding tickets, things like that. And those situations were really just pretty much, you get scared because it's like, oh, the principal just called you to the office.
Right.
But I've
Right.
also had experiences where I was like, I am terrified for my life. I am in the backwoods of Louisiana. This cop has an attitude. He's yelling. I am out on the highway at 2 in the morning. Just situations like that as well. And it's like, I still can't tell you his badge number, anything. He just wouldn't give me any information.
Yeah.
And, so it's just like,
There's a huge
we
lack
have
of
so many,
training. There's a huge lack of training, and then where there is training, you just have ignorant people. That it just is what it is. You have people who can fake it really well. So during academy, they didn't have no issues, no underlying issues that would kind of make your supervisor be like, "Oh, I don't know if we need to put them on the streets." It's not until they get on the streets you're like, "Well, damn, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have hired you," type stuff. But again, you
right.
don't. Anybody can front, fake it till you make it. Shoot.
So, question:
Hmm.
do they do the trainings where you shoot at like the mock-up that's an actual person, or the
Everything.
mock-ups where you've seen them and they're black guys or something?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
No, that's just
Everything is all.
okay.
And what's crazy is I just finished shooting all yesterday, so my fingers have blisters on them, all like bad right now. So I feel like I got arthritis in my hands right now. So it's no, it's just targets like regular. So if you was to go to a gun range, it's just regular target, and it's your general silhouette of a person. So it's not all those fancy colors. It's real plain Jane, nothing fancy.
Because sometimes social media pushes out propaganda to
Mhm.
support whatever its initiative is.
Mhm.
So if your initiative is, we don't fool with the cops and this is why, they'll show memes where it's like there's a white cop and the target that he's pointing at is a black guy. So you have to ask questions like, are they really doing this in DPD?
Girl, it is,
And it's like
and
you have to
no. I've been
go
at
ahead.
two I've been at two departments now. So I can't speak for every department, but both departments that I've been at, it would no. The targets were literally just any old your regular white rectangle paper with a general silhouette of a body. That's it. So it don't it's
Right.
no black person, it's no white person, it's not labeled, oh, this is a Hispanic. It ain't none of that. So
Yeah.
but again,
And
you have people that's just upset and they're gonna get their point across whether it's true or not. They just gonna put it out there because they're fueled by anger and starting stuff that they know is not legitimate.
Naturals Bay also said, our people, we have so many things that we need healing from, because she said, we can also talk about, police brutality, but she said, and again, living in the hood, there's black on black police, I'm not, excuse me, black on black, but black on black crime as well. And so
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of different sides of things. And I think this conversation is something that's so vast, but there's so many levels of it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, how do we talk about, interactions with police officers?
Mm-hmm.
How do we talk about accountability from one police officer to another? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what? defund the police is a thing that they're talking about. So there are a few questions that I also want to hit as well. But how do you feel about people saying something like defund the police? Because I don't understand, and maybe it's because this is not something that I've really involved myself in
Mm.
until, the Black Lives Matter movement started happening. But what would defunding the police is that something we would advocate for? What would that mean for the services that you provide us? Like,
That is a
help me out on that
great
too.
girl. That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked. I am against it 100%. And I know the comments and questions are probably going to start rolling, but I am against it, and it is the stupidest thing ever. But, and crazily enough, some departments have already been defunded. So, I mean, it's happening.
Wow.
People are getting their way,
So,
but it's you can't pay me to sign anything, and it's not. It has nothing to do with pay. I don't take income out of it. Take all that, the work itself. It cannot. And it's sad that it's come to this because, and I'll bring this up because in academy they was like, well, how many times have you called the police? They're like, how many of you have called the police outside of here before? And most of us raised our hand, including myself. And then they were like, now think about the reason you called them, and wasn't it pretty extreme, or you just couldn't? And I was like, dang, he got a point. So it's just
yeah,
like, if you calling the police, the shit done got bad. Whatever it is you calling them about,
right.
it done got bad. You can't do it on your own. You need some assistance from whoever. If you
You
calling
need some
police,
help.
you need help. Right.
Right.
You defunding us, one, that's gonna take us off the street. We already are understaffed, way understaffed, have people staying over, just to cover shifts. So it's just like, if we don't already have the numbers on the thing, y'all want to cut our budget now. So now so that's gonna take away. So that means they're gonna start letting people go. So now you don't
Wow.
even have people to go and respond to your call for help. You need help, and now you're gonna get told by dispatch, oh well, it'll be another, all officers are out on the call right now. You're gonna have to wait. The call just gonna be
If
holding the
there's a
call.
dispatch,
If
I saw something that said the first thing that they would do, that way they don't have to take away officers, is they will have the dispatches on the front line. That will be an automated system. And I saw one time that there was an automated system that was already in place. And these sisters had called about someone breaking into their home. And unfortunately, they were murdered because the system at the time was new and it couldn't register
mm,
the request of what they were trying to say because it was not a human person. So defunding them would mean that you kind of almost could receive an automated system when you call 911. And when you need help, I have 15 seconds, sis, to tell you all of the details that you need. So, I need you, a person, to be able to type it up because I'm going to have to roll, okay?
mm,
And so someone said defunding the hospital, defunding the police would make it hard for them to protect and serve us with integrity.
that's
Um,
it. Essentially, that is it. Because one, you're taking away how many, the numbers that we don't already have. Because like I said, we're understaffed, and that's every department. I don't care what anybody says. Every department is understaffed. There is just not enough police to fully cover a full city. The
mhm,
way that it needs to be covered. So we're already understaffed. So defunding, you're taking away from our numbers. Um, our equipment, the stuff that we actually use to protect you. Pistols ain't
wow.
cheap. Everything on our belt is not cheap. Tasers are not cheap. I mean, our equipment itself is a bill. Stuff like that. So, like I said, it has nothing to do with income. But when you really start really looking into our budget and where the funds are going, the cars. Heck, most police departments are driving freaking Dodge Chargers. Anybody that drives a
Right.
Charger, that ain't. And if you lucky, some of them have the new Chevy Tahoes. Some of them are still older departments and ain't really got with the times yet. They still driving, the slabs or whatever. But
Slabs. Yes.
so everything costs money, and it's just like, okay, let's take the money away from here. So now now we have enough police cars, but now we don't have enough police to drive them. Okay,
Wow.
let's cut out some money here. Okay, now we don't have this. Now we don't have enough equipment. So we just brought in a new class of recruits, but we can't put them on the street yet because we don't have enough money to get them their gun belt with all the tools they need. So it's just like, how can we effectively do our job? One, if there's not enough of us, and two, if we just don't have the funding, because everything police related costs money, and big money.
Someone said you want to defund the police, but you want extra training. I'm moving to Mars. Like, I understand. Like, really, and that's why I was like, this is so crazy because we say, well, we need more accountability, more representation. And then you discredit somebody because they're taking the time to do something that is, I guess, a sellout move or something. And it's like, are you serious? Like, you have to pick and choose. Like, either we can have these people in there for us so we can know that things are moving right and just trust, or else you can continuously complain, but somebody is going to be policing our neighborhoods,
And that's
whether you
it.
like it or not.
That's it. And
Yeah.
I'm glad she pointed that out, that they say to defend but want extra training. The training costs too. Like, everything costs. I
So
just went through a training. Oh, it's been maybe like 6 months ago, and it was a legit training. And honestly, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was one of those things where it just came down through my chain of command. It was like, oh yeah, we registered you for this training. By the way, I did not want to do it because it was for mental health officer training. But I was just like, of course we need it, but I'm just, because obviously there's a lot of issues going on behind mental health and us. So, and at the end, it paid off. I mean, because I'm officially, certified as a mental health officer now. So they send me, if it has something to do with a mental person, they're going to send me, just because I have that
so
training as a mental health officer and I've been certified. So,
that's something that I wanted to ask you about, especially for the people who are here in Dallas.
hmm
One thing that you said, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to go through any extra rigorous training after you've already graduated college.
ooh,
No person who
and the
graduated from
academy on
IT
top of
wants
that.
to, yeah, yeah, getting tased, all this other stuff. And it's like, another training, bro. Ain't no telling what y'all
Yes,
finna be doing
yes,
this time,
yes.
So I get what you're saying there, but the fact that they are issuing training once something is seen in the public, or once, okay, so obviously this is an issue, so before it gets to the Dallas Police Department, we're going to initiate and create some type of mandatory training that you have to be a part of,
Yeah.
because they were talking about people who, you know, didn't understand how to de-escalate a situation with mental health,
Mm-hmm.
people who have mental health concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So just you as an officer, candidly asking you this question, do you feel like you have the adequate training to de-escalate a situation without shooting anyone,
Mm-hmm. Yep, I can talk.
even if they have a gun or not?
Oh, now if they got a gun, honey, we that's a different
It's a
conversation.
different
Cause
story. It's a
yeah,
different story.
it's not much talking gonna be going on. I'm being 100% honest. But
Okay.
there's something. Some people just have the gift to gab, and I've been told that I have that. I don't really agree with it necessarily, but they're just like, you have a way with
I
words,
agree.
and you can get people. And I mean, I guess I kind of see it. I can pretty much talk you out of whatever you think you about to do, or or I can put it, or I can just say one word and put enough fear in your heart that you ain't gonna do whatever it is you think you about to do. So it's just a communication thing. So do I? Yes, I do feel, and I've seen it now where a lot can be resolved with just freaking talking. You paid by the hour, so you might as well get comfortable and figure out what the heck is really going on. Ain't no point in sitting here trying to be all egotistical and be eyeballing each other up and down, and oh she, this bitch don't know what she doing, and she thinks she finna come up in here and tell, just all that. It's way more than that. You can get so far with just talking. Everybody's human at the end of the day. And I think a lot of officers just forget that. Like, hey man, you human too. You don't have it all together. You might think you do, but you don't have it all together, and we all gonna make mistakes, and we've all had a moment where we, either snapped and done something we knew full well we shouldn't have done. And sometimes we do the stuff intentionally. So it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
just get down to the root of the problem. be safe at the same time. But I honestly think I have more than enough training to de-escalate. We get drilled on that all the time. De-escalate, de-escalate, de-escalate. Me, I'm telling you, I'm gonna talk you down, I'm gonna wear you out. By the time you're just gonna be like, okay, I wish you would shut up, because I've got you gonna want me to leave. You gonna want me to leave by the
Wow.
time I finish, because you're gonna be like, okay, you done yet? You done yet? I ain't gonna do what I thought. Yeah, I was mad at the time. Yeah, all right, whatever. I get your point. You gonna be tired of hearing from me, but everybody doesn't have that. You have those officers who are, just they have to be looking down somebody's nose the whole time. Oh, you beneath me, and
Yeah.
oh, I'm an officer. You gonna do what I say, and they just have this power. I mean, just because we have it, don't mean we have to use it.
Yeah.
You get more
Yeah.
bees with
I
honey.
agree.
They say that all the time. You get more bees with honey. So if you go
Yeah.
up to people being nice, and so honestly, even if you don't mean it, just go up there and just be nice. I mean, why would you go up to somebody just cussing and fussing and yelling and
Knowing that they're scared of you.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
doing the most. Now there are times,
So,
you have to know your audience, because it's certain people I'm not gonna go up to saying, please, ma'am, please, sir. It's gonna be no, you're
yeah.
gonna sit right there and wait. It's gonna Some people respond to that, and that's another thing you have
Yeah.
to know is the people you're dealing with. Some people were
Exactly.
raised being cussed at and fussed at and all that. So when you do say stuff like ma'am and stuff, they're offended. They're like, ma'am, oh, she thinks it's so you have to really gauge
Wow.
like who you talking to, because some people don't respond to the nice and professional type of language. They used to being cussed out and stuff.
And one thing that you mentioned when it comes to initiating or responding to calls, I talk a lot about Breonna Taylor. And
Hmm.
the reason why I talk about her is because I've had two experiences. I used to work for multifamily living, apartment complexes. And one thing that people were like, well, how did they not know that it was her house? But sometimes people skip on their evictions because they have warrants or something.
Mm.
And I remember the apartment complex that I lived at, when somebody skipped out on an eviction, we'd clean up the apartment and we'd lease it the next week. And I remember that there would be times where police officers would come in and be like, hey, we just checked out this apartment. Do they still live here? They don't come and talk to us first. So
Mm.
I was like, I could see how that could be a situation within itself.
Hmm.
Even now, the place that I stay at, there's a young lady who used to live here who has warrants out, active warrants. And she is a 20 something African American female.
Hmm.
And if they decided to serve her with a no knock warrant, they would come to my house and my husband could say, she's not here. And if they saw a young black 20, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They'd be like, no, that's her. And we finna come in here.
Hmm.
So for situations and instances like Breonna Taylor and something that I'm similar in and things that people may not know they're in,
Hmm.
how can we maybe arm and protect our homes if people, if police officers come to our homes? How do we handle that when it's at your front doorstep?
Right, and that's going to be very, very difficult, because the Breonna Taylor thing, it's still very fluid. And me, honestly, I feel like there's a missing piece in what's being broadcasted. I'm because the whole thing is just not adding up to me, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But I don't get all into it, but it's it's just one of those things. The first and foremost, we have to be knowledgeable. Like we just have to know. I promise, if you get on Google and type in like the laws of tech, you will find them. Like it's but we're not taking the time to educate ourselves. I'm not fixing to just be volunteering all my information and training. No. That I mean, I love my people and I'm gonna look out for you, but get on Google and look up, is this illegal or legal in the state of Texas? Like, know what you can and can't do. Know what police can and can't do. It's on Google.
So if they pull up or if I'm pulled over and that knowledge base, like I have it or I don't have it, there are people who are knowledgeable who still also had an issue because they were so knowledgeable. They don't want you to talk back
And
talking like you're smart either,
that's when
you know.
you have those officers who are just like, because it's like you challenging us. So I get it. I get it. It hasn't happened to me yet, but when somebody does, claim they know their rights and stuff, usually they don't. Sidebar, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Usually they don't. But for the ones that do, some officers take that the wrong way. They don't get offended, but they're just like, oh, she trying to challenge me. She trying to show me up,
Yeah.
thinking she or he knows, they know more than me or whatever.
Yeah.
So that I can see that has been an issue too, being knowledgeable. And so when you do have those officers whose intentions aren't good from the jump, who probably pulled you over for something that doesn't even exist anyway. So when people's intentions are bad, they're not driven by anything logical. Their
Yeah.
wheels are just they gonna do whatever it is to jam you up. And
That's on both sides.
they're
Wow.
probably in a department that's gonna cover it up too. So when presented with situations like that, you just really, and again, everybody may not be religious or whatever, but get in touch with whoever your higher power is, and just go from there. It's just one of those things. It's like, damn, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Yeah.
They gonna try to find something, even if I do know my rights, and they gonna try to find something, even if I don't. I get it. It's not gonna be a win-win situation all the time, but
So would you recommend that people have a CHL?
oh yeah. hmm My
Okay.
everybody in my house, my immediate family is licensed to carry except for my dad and my brother. Other than that, my younger sister has went and got her license to carry. So
Wow.
we all some pistol packing people over here. So we don't
Okay.
I'm like, if
Crystal Packing Pair Warriors. Okay.
yes, I love it. That's us over here.
Part of the organization. Okay, I got you. Yes, ma'am.
so
Yes, ma'am.
and that's again that we know that the Constitution, it ain't necessarily built and designed to protect us. But if it's letting us carry a pistol, then why the hell we all ain't out here carrying them?
Okay.
If you have the right to bear arms, why the hell are you not out here carrying?
We just gonna drop the mic
Yeah,
on that one.
we just don't do that
So
because we like to always say, "Oh, well, the laws weren't made for us." But the one law that is gonna protect us and that lets you carry a pistol, and all of us out here walking around without one, or we either giving the police a reason to pull us over and we're carrying illegally. We don't want to do it the right way and
yes,
go get licensed.
exactly. And so we have about maybe 2 minutes left.
Okay.
And this was a really good, powerful question. As a woman of color and a member of the police force, what do you hope to see in the future?
Okay, this is gonna sound so cliche. It really is, and I don't want to say it, but we need change. And honestly, y'all, that's all it is. And when all this stuff happens, we have to get to the root of the problem. Because everybody wants to be like, let's take just for an example, and I'm not gonna be long. Um, with the George Floyd case, that officer had so many complaints filed against him in internal affairs. He had been in more than that one incident. He had already been in, I think, two shootings. So when you have stuff like that, you have to hold everybody accountable. But us, not just us, because obviously I'm a police officer, but people on the outside. So regular civilians, your regular folks, they're not thinking the way I'm thinking. Me, I'm like, yes, let's get all the officers that were involved. Let's get the ones that sat there and watched it and didn't do nothing. But let's also get their supervisors because their supervisors knew that they had all these different complaints and stuff, but yet y'all still sent them out on patrol instead of putting them through another training cycle or putting them on desk duty or something to some type of reprimand. So let's go up the chain. Let's hold their supervisors and their supervisors accountable. Because if you have a rap sheet like that, I don't know if I'd be comfortable sending you out on patrol. We might need to do something different, whether we put you on desk duty and we put you through some more training or what. But so I meant change by just that. So we have to change.
Accountability.
Yes. So not only just the officers that are doing it, but let's get to the root of the problem. Who is covering up? Who else is involved? What have the supervisors done to prevent this? Because most of the stuff is preventable. That's
Yeah,
just it.
exactly.
It's mostly preventable. And again, let's update our policy. I just had in-service training, and we just got a whole new use of force policy, all because of the George Floyd stuff. Ours was good, and I thought it covered basis for all that, but just because of the George Floyd stuff, it had to be updated. So it's just like let's keep the ball moving. Like let's make an example out here. Let's actually change. Let's not just, oh, let's not just fire them all the time.